Oh, it's the Democratic fire alarm.
Oh, Robert. Okay. Do we need to see the picture? So, okay. They're voting on whether or not to the spending bill, which would avert a government shutdown. The accusations now are that the Democrats are the ones who are trying to delay the vote so that there is a shutdown. I thought they were criticizing the Republicans for that last week, saying that they're playing, hostage with Americans. Apparently, there was a stopgap pay vote going on, and if it got through, there'd be an extension to averting the shutdown. And Jamaal Bowman, for those of you who don't know, he was in the news for, I think it was him who had something of a accosted someone with some questioning in the hallway. I think that was him. I may be mistaken. Either way, the dude not apparently pulled the fire alarm, which then evacuated the building, caused delays, but apparently they still got the vote in anyhow, and was accused immediately of having broken the law and tried to interfere with official congressional proceedings. He says his explanation is, I pulled the fire alarm because I thought it would open a locked door because I was in a rush to go vote. I wasn't trying to delay anything. I was trying to get there fast and I couldn't open the door. And I thought this thing that's a fire alarm would open the door. I don't know if he thought by sounding the fire alarm, it would unlock the door. That's what I think is his explanation. Not that he thought it was a lever to open a door. Just a few questions for the context. The government shutdown, we're going to get to that in a second, or this is part and parcel of this. What's the issue right now in terms of why the government might have to shut down?
I mean, basically, they didn't want the vote to occur, so he put on the fire alarm to delay the vote. And according to the Biden administration, that's obstruction of an official proceeding that belongs 20 years in federal prison. You can guarantee, like they keep saying, no one's above the law unless you're a Biden, a Clinton, a Democratic congressman, a Democratic protester, or any other Democratic aligned group or individual. Then you're all above the law. So I mean, it's so Orwellian, their perversion of phraseology, and this is just the latest example of it. This is the congressman that went nuts on Congressman Massey earlier in the year. I mean, the guy's clearly a little bit kooky. And Congressman Jamaal Bowman.
This is a tweet that he had, and I believe it's about Trump. I don't have the date on it.
Yeah, no one in this country is above the law except for him. So his excuse has got to be the dumbest excuse ever. The idea that pulling a fire alarm he confused with opening doors.
Well, no, but
he didn't know that something had said fire alarm, don't pull unless fire, meant it was a fire alarm.
No, but now that I say it out loud, maybe I'm thinking his explanation is the door was locked, and I thought by pulling the fire alarm it would automatically unlock the door.
Why would it do that?
Well, because if you need to get out of the building and it's a fire, so you hit it and then the doors become unstuck. There's some places that have, they say,
it wasn't to get out of the building; it was to get into a building. According to him.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, the guy's a liar, obvious liar. It's an obvious lie that weak effort. And here's the irony. While he is going to face no consequences whatsoever for his attempt to obstruct proceedings, Speaker McCarthy is secretly working with the Biden administration to do what a majority of Republicans in the House said not to do, and Senator J.D. Vance and Senator Rand Paul leading the efforts not to do, no more money to Ukraine. I mean, the Ukraine Minister of Defense bought, like, what was it, 7 mansions or something? He was like, hey, I did my job. I'm out of here now. He resigned Minister of Defense, killed a couple 100,000 of my own fellow citizens, Ukrainian civilians, many of them drafted and forced into the war, in between arresting priests and opposing press and opposing members of the political parties. And he was buying mansions all around the world. I mean, it's the biggest grift pit of all time. And it's just one that also endangers the whole world's peace. With World War III, while the Brits are talking about escalating and sending in British soldiers, and the Germans are talking about escalating, it's just insanity all around it. And so Senator Vance and Senator Paul led the effort in the Senate saying no more money. And the Democrats were willing to shut down the country to fund Ukraine. Now, that should have been the talking point for Republicans. A majority of Republicans in the House have now agreed no more funding for Ukraine. So it's only the Democrats that are keeping it alive. McCarthy agreed no more funding for Ukraine, but according to the Biden administration, cut a secret deal to provide money, and that's what the Bowman stunt was all about. It's all about money for Ukraine. It's not about keeping the government open or closed. It's not about, I mean, essential services keep going anyway. So people think the government's closed. We've been through this now several times. You don't lose your Social Security checks. No basic services go missing. You know, it's a lot of people. You realize when the government shuts down how much we don't need everybody who shut down, because you're like, nothing in my life is worse now. In fact, usually it's better. You know, put some IRS people on furlough. That's good for everybody. So so that's really what's, you know, but the backstory, it's all about Ukraine. It's all about Schumer and McConnell and Biden, and apparently in secret McCarthy, who, while Bowman will face no consequences because Matt Gaetz is raising this issue with Marjorie Taylor Greene in the House, there's now talk that he's going to try to get the ethics committee to recommend expulsion. So they're going to try to expel Matt Gaetz instead. That's how insane and divorced from reality the political leadership is in Washington. They are as divorced from reality and as morally deformed as those people we hung out with at the people we got to sit around in the audience with the Republican debate.
Robert, I'll just bring this up so that people understand this. Talking about the funding for Ukraine. The war has also impacted Ukraine's financial standing, with the country's economy contracting by an estimated 31% last year, yada, yada. The U.S. government is subsidizing small businesses in Ukraine, including Tatiana Abramova's knitwear company, to keep it afloat. What else is there? Government
they're paying salary. We are basically paying Ukraine. I think on average they estimated $232 million a day the U.S. government has given to Ukraine to fight this stupid, dumb, counterproductive, dangerous war.
5% of the military budget. Where was it? It's 5% of the military budget is going to Ukraine. Here we go. The U.S. has spent just over $43 billion since Russia invaded. I thought they were at 135, but maybe that's loans or whatever. That's the equivalent to about 5% of the defense budget.
What was that? Tim Scott who said that? And it was like loans. How are they going to get paid back? When the Russians come in and take it over, do you think Vlad's going to pay back the bill?
No, it's like I thought they were. I didn't know it was an investment. I mean, when they said it was an investment in freedom, I didn't know they meant an actual financial investment. And in which case, what's up with that? What is the actual purpose of this war? So that Russia can own Ukraine or America?
Less political freedom in Ukraine than almost any nation in the world. Less religious freedom than almost any nation in the world. Less speech freedom than almost any nation in the world. Less press freedom than almost any nation in the world. And their kids are being dragged out of their homes and threatened with deportation if they live in another country to go die on the front lines in a needless, useless, counterproductive war.
It's you have heard that they've apparently started conscripting women now, 18 to 60.
Yeah. They're going to drag the women to the front lines now.
It's amazing for the accusations, and if I could have my response to Konstantin Kisin that I would have had, where he accused Russia of wanting to expand into Ukraine. When you talk about it as an investment in Ukraine, so that you can own the resources and you can get paid back on your investment, who is it exactly that is trying to own Ukraine in all of this?
And the other thing is, like, Trump's position on China is always the reasonable one, which is they're an economic competitor, has used unfair trade advantages because of the Bush administration's WTO policies to disadvantage American manufacturing. We should not be thinking about waging war against China. That's one of the dumbest things on the planet. And yet that's what all of them were up there talking about at the debate that night. So it's about, we've been co-opted by a deep state with functional control of the American government. And we're just seeing it in live time against the interest of the American people. And this latest illustration with the Democrat fire alarm and the budget issues and the debate all wrap up into the same conclusion. The deep state has to be overthrown if democracy is going to survive here at home, or we're ever going to have peace abroad.